Good morning, friends. I, C. Intesidia, Chairman, Chittorgarh branch of CIRC of ICI, on behalf of the Professional Skills Enrichment Committee ICI, welcome all participants in today's webcast on skill enrichment for breaking growth barriers for CA in life and professional. I also welcome C. Anuj Goyal, Chairman of this committee, C. A. Supriya Kumar, Vice Chairperson of Professional and Skill Enrichment Committee ICI. For today, resources person CA Sandeep Gupta and the event enabler from the Chittorgarh branch of CRC of ICI and other present over here. Although the vice chairman and vice chairman of the committee is not present here, they will join soon. I introduce the vice chairman of this committee, vice chairperson of the committee, Supriya Kumar. CA Supriya Kumar, Central Council member 2022-25 of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. She had earlier served as a Central Council member in 2016 to 19 and in the South India Region Council 2012 से 15. She is currently the chairperson of the Sustainability Reporting Standard Board ICI and also the vice chairperson of the Professional Skill Enrichment Committee ICI and Corporate Law and Corporate Governance Committee ICI and member of various non-standing committee of ICI. She is not present, but we welcome this she is in this meeting. I also introduce CA Anuj Goyal, Chairman of Professional Skill Enrichment Committee. Anuj Goyal ji is a Central Council member of the Institute Chartered Accountant India, qualified as FCA, FCS, FCMA, MCOM, LLB, PhD, DISA, DIM. Besides that, he is 6-time Central Council member since 2004. Chairman, Professional Skill Enrichment Committee, ICI, Chairman, Ethical Standard Board, ICI, Conveyor Publication and Series Director, ICI, Vice Chairman, Sustainability Reporting Standard Board, Vice Chairman, Taxation Audit Quality Review Board and members of various non-standing committee of ICI. He is a dynamic Central Council member who always with the prime objective to serve the members of ICI at large and always stand with and for the members of the ICI. He had earlier served as the chairman of the CIRC of ICI and in the position of CIRC of ICI and managing committee in the Ghaziabad branch of CIRC of ICI before joining the ICI Council. I welcome all dignitaries, all participants. Now I welcome CA Ankur Goyal, past chairman and treasurer of Chittorgarh CA branch, to introduce our eminent speaker Sandeep Gupta ji. Ankur ji.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, all the members here present here. And it's my honor that I got this opportunity to introduce C.S. Sandeep Gupta, who is our speaker of today. Sir, C.S. Sandeep Gupta is a professional speaker, ICF certified coach, design thinking expert, organization development consultant, and the visionary founder of Breaking Growth Barriers. With over 40 years of experience across CA practice, C-suite leadership, coaching and professional speaking, Sandeep excels in fostering organizational mindfulness, inspiring leaders, and compelling speakers. His work is dedicated to helping clients navigate and overcome growth barriers, ensuring their continued success. Sandeep's influences extend globally with impactful talks at prestigious institutions like Oxford University and the Science of Consciousness in Italy. His exceptional contributions have garnered numerous accolades, including the India Achievers Award 2022, PSI Spirit of Service Award 2023, PSAI President's Award 2024, and the Bharat Ke Maharati Award 2023. So really, it's a great honor for me that I'm reading this. His writings have been published globally. Sandeep has taught strategic management at BITS Planning, theology at DEI Agra, and authored a neuro leadership course for a US business school. His impressive qualification extend beyond his chartered accountant's credentials, encompassing diplomas in design thinking, theology, interpersonal neurobiology, and more. In 2023, Sandeep ji served as president of the Delhi chapter of the Professional Speakers Association of India. and currently holds the position of member of the board and treasurer of PSAI. He also chaired the Professional Speaker Summit 2024. So,
Thank you, madam.
over to our chairman, sir.
Thank you, madam. With this great introduction, I, Nitesh Setia, will call the CA Sandeep Gupta for his deliberation. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good morning and namaste,
So,
everyone.
namaskar, sir.
Namaste, sir.
Namaste, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, my mistake. Yeah, please.
Yes, sir. You can
Sir,
continue.
continue, sir. You continue, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'll put the speakers thing, right? Speakers, yes. So good morning and namaste, everyone. Believe me, I'm very happy, very excited to be talking to my fraternity. I'm a chartered accountant like you. The only difference is probably I'm a little bit antedated. I did my CA way back in 79, which I presume must be much before most of the people in the audience today. But before I move forward, I would like to thank CA Dr. Anuj Goyal, the chairman, the dynamic Central Council member, Dr. Sambit Kumar Mishra, CA Supriya, I think I got your name right, Nitish, and the other members of the community and the committee. I use the word community and the committee because this committee is a part and parcel of the community, for giving me this opportunity. Skill enrichment for chartered accountants, for breaking growth barriers in life and profession. Okay, first of all, let me clarify one thing. We have a tendency to build silos around the professional life and a silo around the personal life. I don't believe in this thing because your professional life is a part and parcel of your personal life. And without your personal life, there will be no professional life. And without the professional life, there will be no personal life. So what I bring to you today is my life experiences of 45 years. I will be talking of 4 things. Can you just put me on the speaker? Can you please pin me, Manish? So I'm on the speaker frame, speaker mode. Yeah. Okay, while Manish does this thing, let me move forward. The first thing which I'll be talking about is growth dynamics. However hard we may want, Manish, ye ho nahi raha bhai. This is not happening. नहीं वो मैं कर रहा हूँ, स्पीकर मोड पे जा नहीं रहा. आप ही आ रहे हो स्पीकर मोड पे. So let's go with the gallery then. Or let's go with the multi-speaker. Chalo, anyway. Well, let's move forward, guys. So there are 4 things I'll be talking about. Number 1 is growth dynamics and its nature. All of us wish, however hard we might wish, that growth be a linear thing. Growth is never linear. Growth is a step process. You grow for some time, then there comes a plateau, then there's a dip, and then again you grow. Now, whether it's personal growth, or it is professional growth, or it is business growth, the principle is the same. Number 2, I will be talking about what are the factors, which slow down our growth, and what steps need to be taken. How do you identify that? Next, I'll talk about, are you growth ready? A lot of us believe that we are growth ready, but the fact is we are not growth ready. And lastly, I'll talk about the tools and techniques which can help you to become growth ready, which can help you to excel in your life, which can help you to excel in your professional life, and be the North Star for the community. Let me start with my life, a journey of 45 years, what I went through. I did my chartered accountancy in 1979. Like all chartered accountants, I started majority of chartered accountants, I started my own practice. And believe me, I did my CA from Bombay. In 82, I came to Delhi. And that time, a lot of power was concentrated in North Block for the income tax purposes, in Shastri Bhavan for company law purposes, and in Udyog Bhavan for industry licensing purposes. And since I was from Bombay, a lot of work came to me. In 83, 84, I was earning 35, 40,000 rupees a month, which was a big, huge amount of money. That was huge money, believe me. Something like you start a practice and within 2-3 years, you're earning 5-6 lakhs today. Now that success went to my head. And I thought that, look, Sandeep, you have done it, you have cracked it, and the future is all yours. I did not know the principles of growth at that point of time. When in 91, things changed, the license Raj went away, a lot of decentralization happened. The powers from the CBDT Central Board were shifted to the chief commissioners. A lot of industries were out of the license. RBI, made the regional offices more robust and decision-making platforms. I started losing work. I was doing everything by the book. But one wrong decision, because that was also the time when the Big Four and the Big Five came into India. And they were consolidating, and a lot of professionals, whether lawyers or chartered accountants, were joining them, merging their practices with them. And I decided not to do that. And that was a blunder I did. Because as an individual, I just could not match their muscles, their contact power, their publicity power, their financial power. Over a period of time, my work went down because my clients, which were big corporates, gravitated towards them. And then for a period of 10 years, it was hell. Believe me, it was hell. And there were n number of times where I just wanted to finish everything and restart again. I went to my guru, and my guru smiled at me, and that was the turning point. And I realized 3 things. I understood 3 principles of life. The first principle was align your purpose, your thoughts, and actions. Align your purpose, thoughts, and actions. Just peep into yourself and see whether your purpose, your thoughts, and actions are aligned. Usually what happens, we want to go north, we are thinking of west, and walking towards south. Number 2 was see the larger picture. See the larger picture and join the dots. Just don't focus on the immediate, because life is a reaction of episodes where one action triggers a number of waves in different directions. So you got to see the entire canvas. You got to see the larger picture. You got to see even for the future, and then take a decision by joining the dots. And lastly, and the most importantly, was to operate out of compassion and humility. Believe me, after the initial success, I was not operating out of compassion and humility. So these were the three learnings. And I'm sure if you apply these three learnings in your life, even there'll be a profound change in the way you think, in the way you plan, in the way you react or act. Now, this part of my life made me understand a fundamental principle of growth. And what is that fundamental principle? That fundamental principle is, if you are not growing, you are dying. We always say time is constantly moving forward. We say change is a constant factor. Now, what does that change demand from us? The change demands that we align ourselves with the change and keep growing. And when we do not do that, we die, because the change leaves us behind. Now, why do I say so? I wish this was an interactive thing. We would have exchanged views and ideas and thoughts, but yes, you can put your questions for anything which I say in the chat box, and in the question box, and I'll be very happy to answer them at the end. Now, why do I say that if you are not growing, you are dying? Do you know we live in two worlds simultaneously? One is your inner world, the world of your values, the world of your consciousness, the world of your thoughts, your dreams, your visions, your aspirations, and the other world, where we are born, where we breathe, eat, live, move forward. And both these worlds are very intimately connected. They're extremely intimately connected. Now, let me ask you, and I'll stop for 10, 15 seconds, just think for yourself. Which world rules which world? Or are they? Or do they operate in simultaneously? The inner world rules the external world. Whenever you get angry, don't you have a feeling inside first? And then the anger comes out? Whenever you are curious, there's a tingling inside you, a desire inside you, which manifests outside. So, it is the inner world which rules the outer world. What happens in the inner world manifests in the outer world. And invariably, what we try to do is we try to create a China wall between both the worlds. If we want to succeed, we want to go forward, we want to achieve something, we only focus on the external world. We do not focus on the internal world. As a result, whatever we acquire or get is very temporary. Now, since we are chartered accountants, right? What is something unique that you have? Let me ask you this thing. Obviously, you can't answer over here. Again, I'll give you 10 seconds to think about it. What is that something unique which you have, which the others don't have? That uniqueness are your strengths and weaknesses. Your strengths are your strengths. Your weaknesses are your weaknesses. If you are good in GST, if you are good in company law, if you are good in income tax, if you are good in FEMA, you are good, and what you have, no one else has. The other person could be near you, or below you, or above you. But what is unique for you are your strengths. Similarly, your weaknesses. Your weaknesses are your weaknesses. And with these strengths and weaknesses, where do we operate? We operate in the outer world. And what does the outer world provide you? The outer world provides you opportunities. And at the same time, it provides you threats. Now, the thing is, okay, we are 5 chartered accountants. We are vying for a particular audit or a particular project. Now, each one of us believes that we should get it because we are the best. If we are seeing only our strengths, probably the person giving us or allotting or assigning the assignment is also seeing our weaknesses. So when the plus and minus come together, what we perceive ourselves to be, it lowers down. And we don't fit into the opportunity which is existing outside. And our growth is hampered. And I'm sure if you really dive deep into yourself, you would see that you have experienced this phenomenon a number of times from your childhood. When does our real growth happens? Our real growth happens when our inner world and outer world, they shake hands. You see, the outer world is constantly growing. And if we stop the growth of our inner world, we would be left behind our competitors. The other people in society would overtake us. It's like a race. And we got to strengthen ourselves. We got to strengthen ourselves to win the race. Have you ever thought that you are vying for an audit or a taxation case, or you are vying for a project, and so are other people? How does the evaluator or the person giving the project evaluates you? He or she takes total stock of your strengths and weaknesses. And believe me, we might think that, okay, our weaknesses will not surface if we put on this face, or if we speak this way, our weaknesses will not surface. It doesn't happen. Our weaknesses are a constant companion of our strengths. And our weaknesses, in the eyes of the other person, tend to reduce our strengths, or they obviously diminish your strengths. So when do you grow? You grow when your inner and the outer worlds, they shake hands. You grow when your inner world and the outer world, they shake hands. It is not something that the outer world is shaking hands with someone inferior or someone superior. It is not something that the inner world is shaking hands with something superior or inferior. No, it's a hard and fast rule that both the worlds need to be at par. Therefore, constant upgradation of knowledge, of attitudes, of values, of habits, of awareness needs to happen. You know, when the inner world, that could be the inner world of a company or an individual or a leader or a family, cannot match the requirements of the outer world, the inner world fails and you are left behind. Let's take the case of Nokia. There was a time when Nokia was the leading mobile phone. Was a leading mobile phone. But then you saw it got overtaken by other companies. Kodak is another example. Xerox is another example. The world leaders, or the people who were leading the market, like the Nokias and the Kodaks and the Xerox, they got wiped out. And when we are in profession, the same principle applies to us. If we do not work on our internal strengths, if we do not recognize what's happening in the outside world, we would be left out. For example, when GST was introduced, I'm sure a lot of people don't do GST work, but then the people who do GST work, didn't they practice jump immediately? So this was just a small example. Now, what is the dynamic of growth? Because all of us want to grow, right? And why do we want to align our internal and the external world? For growth. Now, let me pose a question to you. I know I won't get your answers, but it'll at least help you to think. I give a straight line going up. And the second line I draw is it goes up, plateaus, dips, then grows, plateaus, dips, and then grows. Just think for yourself. The first line, which is a straight line at a 45 degrees angle or 60 degrees angle, does that represent reality of growth? Or the second line, which is jerky, it grows, flattens out, dips, then again grows, flattens out, dips. That represents the journey of growth. I'm giving you 10 seconds. Just think. It is the second line. Why? The external world is growing independently. Yesterday, there was one particular act, a new act is introduced, then there are amendments. So there are changes happening regularly in the external world. If you do not keep track with the changes, though I'm just giving examples of what we deal in our profession, but similarly, changes are happening in society, changes are happening in the infrastructure, changes are happening in the way we think and the way we work, changes are happening in relationships. So changes are happening in the external world. If you do not keep pace with the changes or keep realigning and realigning and realigning yourself with the changes, you are left behind. Now let's take the actual case where you grow for some time, then you plateau out, there is a dip, and you grow again, and this process keeps on, is a continuous process. Now, what is happening in this process? You are growing. At the same time, even the external world is growing. When a mismatch comes, your growth gets into a plateau phase. Now, that is the time which is a do or die time for you. To give you an example, till the time the income tax assessments had not become faceless. All of us used to go to the income tax office, spend hours over there. But from the time they have become faceless, and the people who have not adopted to this facelessness are still focusing or believing in the old practice of going to the income tax office in the morning, spending the entire day there, meeting the babus and the inspectors and the officers, if they have not changed their style of working to this faceless style of working, which is virtually online today, what would have happened to their practice? I'm sure they would not be doing as well as they were doing earlier. Similarly, there have been so many changes in the company law. Now, chartered accountants who have not kept themselves updated with the changes happening in the company law, obviously, might not be providing that kind of services which they were providing earlier. Similarly, chartered accountants who have not got into the automation which is happening in the outside world, must be getting impacted, because with automation, even the clients' wants and desires are changing. Earlier, we could afford to say that, okay, give us a week's time to think, to analyze, and get back to you. Today, the client says everything is online. I want it tomorrow, or I want it today. So this plateau phase is a phase where we need to introspect, we need to accept the changes happening, and we need to redesign our forward movement. Though I'm talking purely from the professional point of view, because we are a gathering of chartered accountants today, but what I'm saying equally applies to our private life also. Growth and evolution is happening all around. You can't say that I will grow professionally, but I will not grow personally. No, that's not possible. There has to be a balance, a total balance in all dimensions of our personality. And working, earning money, our profession is just one of the dimensions. Now, when we are at the plateau phase, what are we required to do? What should we be focusing on? Obviously, we got to redesign something. We got to change something. We got to alter something. But what are those things that we need to redesign, we need to alter, we need to change? What are those 5 things? Or what are those things which in a changing environment needs our immediate attention? And if we don't pay attention to them, we would be left behind. Again, I give you 10 seconds to just think through it, and then I'll tell you what the 5 are. The first and the foremost is strategies. Your strategy which worked in environment A, and since the environment has changed, it has become environment B, you need to alter your strategies. You need to look at them and change your strategies. Number 2 are the processes. Now, when you implement a strategy, obviously, there are processes which are governed by that strategy. And look, as far as the change is concerned, let me give you this example. Before the session started, the technical support team said, okay, we are around 400 people already registered, right? Now, before the internet came in, before we had the facility of online, which we have today, imagine, had it been a physical workshop or a physical talk, would there have been 400 people? No. Our reach has increased. So this is a phenomenal change. And because of this change, our reach increasing, right? Communication at the drop of the hat, even we need to change our processes, the systems we follow. And obviously, when the strategies change, the processes change, even the resources change. I remember, when I was doing my articles and I used to go for audits, there used to be a facet machine. It was a calculator per se. Because before that, what used to happen, accountants used to run their fingers this way on the numbers and they would calculate. And there was a huge probability of mistakes being made. Then came the facet machines, where you punched in the numbers and there was a paper roll. You turned it around, then you punched the second, and a long strip of numbers with the total used to come out. Then came the calculators. And now we have the computers. Now, as the resources changed, we also had to change our working mechanism. We also had to, even the timelines changed. Because I remember when I was doing my articles in the 70s, we used to spend days and days in trying to tally the trial balance. In the 80s, when I was practicing, it had become much simpler because of the facet machines. Then the desktops had come, calculators. It had become all the more easier. Then the calculators with memory had come. It became all the more easier. And today, when you use a spreadsheet, all you got to do is put the summation sign on, mark the range, and you have your answer. So, when the resources change, you also got to change your habits. Now, when you are changing your habits, what happens? Your value system a number of times comes in between. Now, when I say value system, it means the way you think, the way you react, the way you process information, and the way you react. That creates your value system. So, the values. And lastly, it has also changed the relationships. Earlier, a client of mine would give me a week's time to tally the trial balance. Today, if I ask my client to give me a week to tally the trial balance, do you think the person would agree to it? No, he would say, I want the trial balance immediately, man. You are an auditor, everything is on tally or whatever system you're following. He won't give me. So even the working mechanics have changed. So, the 5 things at the plateau stage which we deeply got to look into are the strategies which we had been following and what revised strategy is required to align with the new environment, which is an external factor, because that factor is going to give you work. That factor is going to give you audits, the taxations, the company law work. And believe me, there are hundreds of us competing for the same job. So you've got to upskill yourself. You've got to be really vigilant at that plateau stage. When the plateau hits you, then the processes. You've got to devise your own processes so that you can deliver what the client wants. Resources, obviously, you can't deliver without resources. So you take a call on the resources. Now, values is something, which has been always undervalued. Believe me, values is something which has always been undervalued. And I say, value is the most important thing. It shows your integrity. It shows your thought process. And when do you shake hands with people? And it comes into your aura, it comes into your energy. And when do you shake hands with people and become friends and have faith on each other? Only when your value systems match, only when your energies match, only when you can add values. Valuing over here is something you can benefit each other. And that results in relationships. I'm sure a number of you must have experienced this thing. You had a very good relationship with a particular client, professional relationship, who was also a personal friend. Then certain changes happened in the external world, and you could not cope up with them, or your office did not cope up with them. And then one day you find that that friend who was also your client is no more a client. He remains a friend or she remains a friend, but is no more your client. Professionally, you have been dented. Therefore, this plateau, which plateau means when the growth has slowed down or the growth has stopped. Now, that is the plateau stage. If you were growing at, say, 50% every year or 20% every year, and if that growth comes down to 10%, 15%, you can be sure that you are going to hit that plateau stage, and it requires your immediate attention. And what are the 5 areas where you give your attention? Your strategies of procuring business and doing business and delivering results. The processes you follow, the resources you have, your value system, and the relationships you harbor. Okay, now when we hit the plateau stage, it's very interesting that all of us talk of wanting to grow, wanting to become big, wanting to become a name, wanting to be known in our community and in the world in general. But do you know, when you hit the plateau stage, 3 types of reactions are there, and 95% people fall in these 3 types of reactions. What is the first reaction? Have you seen an ostrich? What does an ostrich do? The ostrich, shoves its face inside sand and believes, I cannot see anyone, therefore anyone cannot see me. And I'm sure in your childhood, your parents and your grandparents must have told you the story of the pigeon and the cat. There was a pigeon sitting on a branch, a cat was climbing. The pigeon said, oh, who is going to fly? I don't have any intention to fly. I'm too tired to fly. Let me close my eyes. When I won't see the cat will not see me. I'll be saved. And unfortunately, the cat did not believe in that syndrome, caught the pigeon and killed the pigeon. So the first thing is the ostrich syndrome. When changes are happening in the socio-economic environment, when the changes are happening in the legal environment, when the changes are happening in the attitudes of the client because of technology, and you ignore them, you are calling your own death or own retardation. The second thing is, I know all attitude. I'm sure all of you must have met a number of people, who believe that they know it all. Mujhko sab malum hai. I know everything. These people are people with a blindfold over their eyes. They only believe, but the fact is they do not know. They are people standing at the edge of the cliff, taking a step forward, and the next step is going to make them fall into the cliff, but still very confident. I know it all. And the third type of people are those people, who are taking action, but taking action mindlessly. Just imagine, and it must have happened to all of us sometimes or the other. Your car is stuck. Or let's say a car is stuck. It's rainy season, it's all mud, the ground is not solid, and the car is stuck in a ditch, a small ditch. And what the driver is doing is accelerating to come out. Now, what's happening? Since the wheel is rotating at such a pace, at such a fast pace, it's throwing out the mud and it is sinking deeper and deeper in the hole. The third category of people are these who are using old solutions to new problems. There are people who are using old solutions to new problems. And I tell such people that, look, guys, what worked 6 months back or a year back or even yesterday is not working today. Why have you opened your eyes and seen all around? Yesterday, when you pulled your car out of that small ditch, it had not rained. The ground was solid. So when you accelerated, the tire came out and you were on the road. But today, when the ground is wet, your tire cannot grip the ground. You are trying the same solution. As a result, what's happening? Instead of coming out, you are going deeper and deeper in the ditch. So the third category are these kind of people. And if we sum them up, my experience has been virtually 90-95% people fall in this category. Eventually, they do take the corrective action, but by then, it is too late. And so, okay, now, so far I have talked about what goes wrong in 95% cases, okay? And now I'll be talking about the actions. How can we rise and shine? Because, bare knowledge has got no meaning. Bare knowledge has got no meaning. Like a bullet without a gun is harmless. And a gun without a bullet is harmless. So till the time knowledge and action come together, things don't change, things don't happen. Okay, once again, now I'll be reading out 8 statements. And if you got a paper pencil, just do one thing. On each statement of mine, mark yourself on a scale of 0 to 10. Just put that number. And then we'll sum it up, and then I'll tell you what the result is. Do you believe, or in how many times or in how many cases do you believe that challenges are opportunities? Just write the number, I believe, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, 10 times, or 0 times. How many times do you believe that challenges are opportunities? Number 2. When someone criticizes you or gives a feedback, how many times do you welcome it? You feel good. Oh, someone has told me how to improve. It could be 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever the number is. We are doing it on a scale of 0 to 10. How many times do you welcome criticism and feedback? Look, there's nothing wrong or right over here. Be honest with yourself. No one else is watching. It will give you insight into your own psycho. it will give you a path to improve. How many times do you focus on the process for results? In case you are just focusing on the results, then it goes towards 0. If you're focusing on the process to achieve the results, then it goes towards 10. So how many times do you focus on the process for results out of 10? There are 8 questions. Now I come to the 4th question. How many times you get into the trap of proving yourself? So the question is, how many times you don't make attempts to prove yourselves? Question number 5. How many times are you happy when others succeed? We are doing the scoring on 0 to 10. On how many times are you happy when others succeed? Or it is, hey, how the hell has he got or she got the work? It should have come to me. No, I'm not happy. So my question is, how many times are you happy when others succeed? The next question. We all fail in life. And without fail, we fail in life. Because without failure, we cannot improve. So how many times when you have failed, you get into a very pensive mood or a depressive mood, and how many times do you get into a mood which says, hey, this is great, I have learned this thing from this failure? So the question is, how many times do you learn and grow from failures? Just 2 more questions. Question number 7. How many times have you said, or you believed, or you feel that uncertainty is okay, and you are comfortable with uncertainty? And the last question is, do you believe, to what extent do you believe that talent can be nurtured? Now, what you do is, whatever the numbers you have put 0 to 10, just total them. And see the percentage. And the percentage is to be calculated out of 80. The percentage which you get demonstrates your growth mindset. For example, out of 80, you got a 60. So it becomes 75%. 60 out of 80 is 75%. The 75% is the growth mindset. 25% is the fixed mindset. And to grow and be successful in life, we need a growth mindset. And if for the people, who have got a low score, there's nothing to be disheartened. Because what I'm going to share now is how can we develop it? And yes, This is not casted in stone. This is a highly developable skill. And for this development, we need 3 attributes: an intent to change, to accept and change. Number 2, courage to change. Number 3, action to change. And let me tell you, till the time you change internally, the results you get outside would be temporary, would be hit and run. Their life would be very low. But the day you change internally, there'll be more permanency in the results you reap, in the results you get, and you will enjoy them for a longer time. So the 3 things which are your intent. Now let me put it the other way: your intent to change, your courage to change, and action to change. Now you had the 5 things. That was your strategies, the processes, the resources, values, and relationships about which I spoke earlier. Now what are we finding? The external world, which is the world in which we operate, and the internal world, there's a mismatch. So assuming this is the external world, it has gone up, and our internal world has been left behind. You can only shake hands when both the worlds come together. Now the external world is not going to come down. So the only option left is to strengthen ourselves so that the external world, our external world, rises and meets the internal world rises and meets the external world. And how do we do that? We look into the strategies which we have been following so far in personal relationships, in executing work, in managing our practices, in delivering results, and map them against what is happening in the current scenario in the outer world. Number 2, the processes. I remember when I started my articles in 1974, we used to do the totaling by running our finger this way. Then came the facet machines. We used to punch and turn the handle, and a big roll of paper used to come out. Then came the calculators, and today we have the computers. So, as this process part is a continuously evolving part, are we aligned to the current processes? Yes or no? If no, we got to work on ourselves. We got to train ourselves. We got to train our staff. Resources. Earlier, a typewriter, when I started practice, a typewriter and a calculator was more than sufficient for an office. But today it is not so. And if I try to do practice only with a typewriter and the calculator, I will be an utter failure. So I got to look at the resources, internal resources to manage the external world, as well as the external resources, the infrastructural resources to deliver results to my clients. Because most of us, all of us would be either practicing or serving. So even the employer, I'm using the employer as a client to deliver results to our client. The next is the values. What is our value? And the main driver is the values. And lastly, the relationships we are forming. A relationship formed only for the sake of getting work is an extremely short-lived relationship. Believe me, I became a chartered accountant in 1979. It's been 45 years. And that's a long, long time. Whenever I developed a relationship only for the sake of work, it lasted till the work was with me. And wherever I developed a relationship beyond work, the work never went out of my hands. And even if for certain reasons it did go out, my friends, my clients had the faith to come back to me to consult. Even today, when I'm not practicing for the last 10 years, still, there are certain old clients of mine who come back to me for advice. Now, how do we move forward? Like I talked of the inner world and the outer world, right? The reasons are two, internal and external. The inner world drives the external world. Though, to our eyes, to our mind, the external world, since it's physically visible, looks large, looks big, and since that is the playground where we got to achieve, we focus all our energies on the external world. But do you know who are the soldiers? Or who is that soldier which makes you win in the external world? That soldier is your inner world. That soldier is your inner world because everything starts with a thought. The thought happens in your inner world. And then that thought triggers internal reactions which manifest in the external world. Now, when we come to changing our mindset, we come to solution finding, majority of us, like I said, okay, 95%, the three categories I talked of, who are focusing totally on the external. One is the ostrich, the other is the blind man, and the third is the car stuck in the ditch. The majority focuses on the external. Believe me. The internal is much, much more powerful. The external cannot control the internal. It is the internal which controls the external. Okay, let me ask you a simple question before moving ahead. When you get angry, where do you feel the first sensation? Is it internal or external? External means you start shouting and you start showing your annoyance. Where does that first reaction come in? It is internal. When you fail, where is the first place where frustration creeps in? Is it internal or external? It is internal. Later on, it comes on your face and you say something, you're depressed, but that is all internal. So now what happens? Instead of focusing on the internal world and managing the internal world so that our external world gets managed, majority of us, 90+% of us, focus on the external. You know, their assessment of the situation would be, oh, market is bad. There's no work in the market. Or there's no finance, or they'll blame the leadership, you know, or they'll blame the team, or they'll say the clients are too demanding, or it has become too expensive. Now, these are all external factors. These are all external factors which could have been taken care of if the internal world had been focused upon. So my question usually is, market, finance, leadership, teams, client demands, expenses, right? Technology, are they the real reasons? My question is, are they the real reasons? If you ask me, they're not the real reasons. They could be contributors to the real reason, but they are not the real reasons. Now, let's say a person, gets angry at the drop of the hat or gets irritated at the drop of the hat. A client comes and there's a small tiff. Now, this chartered accountant, blows his top, starts yelling. The client picks up the file and goes away. What is the real reason? Is it the anger of the chartered accountant or the mistake of the client taking the file away? If a new avenue of growth is opening up and you putting your head in the sand like an ostrich, whose fault it is? It is your fault. Not being aware, not being vigilant, not being prepared to take steps, educate yourself, educate your team, get the proper infrastructure in place. What do? We got to identify such things. Now, let me ask you a question. If there's a tree in your garden, there's a tree in your compound, which has been infected by Dimak, white ants, would it suffice to chop the branches off? No. Would it suffice to chop the trunk off? No. You can get rid of white ants only when you uproot the tree totally. Now, why did I get this example of the white ants? Now, the white ants which are eating the roots of the tree, which are below the ground and you cannot see them, our mental process is also not visible to us. Because first, whatever happens or is created at the mental level. First you think, then you internally design, and then you take action. Does it happen to all of us? Yes or no? Obviously, I can't see your answers, but just ask yourself, does it happen that way? So what is this, let's say, the cycle? There's a stimulus which provokes you to take an action. Now that stimulus generates a thought. The thought translates into a feeling. You should do it, you should not do it. Then you are told, no, I'm going to do it. It translates into an action. The action gets a result. Depending on the nature of the result, you develop a belief. And then you feed that belief to your thought. For example, there's a student exams are approaching. He or she wants to go and see a movie. And knows very well somewhere in the subconscious that this is not the time to see a movie. But then feels, oh, no, I'll manage it, I'll do it. What's there? The action results in he or she going to the movie hall, buying a ticket, seeing the movie. It results in time being wasted in the movie hall, right? And when he or she takes the exam, the person fails. Now, there are two options available to that person. The person could introspect and say, I made a wrong choice. This is the result. Or could say, oh, the examiner did not know what it is. So whatever the person feeds becomes the nature of that person. Okay. Now, before I take up how to manage and train your internal system or internal mind, which is the main thing which drives the external world, let's look at certain roots of external change, because the way you think and what you think internally decides whether you will be achieving in the external world or not. Number one, the purpose. Are you clear of your purpose? Why are you doing something? A number of times, or majority of times, people do something out of habit. So before taking any action, you got to be clear. Why are you doing that thing? For example, I don't know the number, how many of you are there in this webinar, but I'm sure there'll be certain people, who are there only for attendance, not concerned what is being discussed. And there'll be certain people who will be concerned with what's discussed. So the choice is yours. For what purpose? So till the time your purpose is not clear, because purpose is that driving force. Purpose is that driving force which will take you towards success and help you to achieve your goals. Second is culture. What is your mental culture? Do you have a mental culture to understand, analyze, keep what is relevant to you and throw the balance out? Or you got a mental culture, oh, we'll see it when it comes. Yeah, don't bother. Number three, where 99% people fail, they only see the immediate, not the long-term picture. And believe me, it is only the long-term picture which helps you to succeed. For example, if you have planned only for 2 days, what's going to happen? 2 days would be very effective. Third day, again, you will be back. What should I do? But if you have planned for, let us say, 1 year or 5 years, you will keep galloping forward towards your goal. Gravity. Now, when I say gravity, it means that how much are you open to accept the situation which you are facing? What I've seen is, number one, I have never done this thing, I will not do this thing. Chartered accountants don't do this thing. Okay. Number two, in society, we don't do this thing. No, let's not do this thing. Number three, companies don't do this thing. Groups don't do this thing. And number four, it's never been done. Now, this is a trap we create for ourselves. Because if you see, you apply this trap, there's going to be no forward movement, there's going to be no innovation, there's going to be no progress. Laziness is another factor, and insecurity. Now, laziness takes you away from your goal. Insecurity stops you from taking action. Now, let me start giving you solutions. Okay, we have another 35 minutes. Remember the word FACES, FACES. And believe me, it's a magical formula. If you apply phases in your practice, if you apply phases in your personal life, both would change and both would support each other. Because your practice might flourish. And if your personal life is not good is going to impact the practice and vice versa. So both need to grow. We don't live in islands. We live in a holistic manner. F stands for flexibility. Flexibility in your thinking. Don't put a full stop. Think. At the same time, don't carry junk with you. What is relevant? Absorb. Throw the balance out. Because our capacity to hold knowledge, our capacity to take action is limited unless we work on expanding it. And they are expandable. But still, they are finite. Adaptability. You must have seen a lot of people in your life. I am like this. मैं तो यही कर सकता हूं. I cannot do this thing. Come on, man, circumstances have changed. The world is changing. If you do not change with the world, you would be left behind. Now, just imagine the plight of the chartered accountants who worked solely on income tax practice, who had thrived on that face-to-face interaction with the income tax officer. What has happened to them? Today, there's no face-to-face interaction. So adaptability. You've got to look into yourself, how adaptable you are to the changing environment. And it's only flexibility will make you practice adaptability. Consistency. Now, you all know that if you do something consistently, slowly and gradually, it becomes your second nature. If you're impatient for results, you sacrifice the law of consistency because you want quick results. Like it is said, in Hindi, there's a saying, Jaldi ka kaam shaitan ka hota hai. If you translate it into English for my friends who would be from the South or non-Hindi speaking states, to hasten work unmindfully is the devil's job. Energy. So unless you bring energy in yourself and to what you are doing, it will not move forward. And believe me, energy is the single most factor to take us forward in any and every sphere of life. And the fifth factor is stability in your personality. You got to have patience. You got to have patience. So these are the 5 factors which you can remember by saying phases. F standing for flexibility in your approach, attitude. A standing for adaptability. Now the flexibility leads to adaptability. C stands for consistency in your attitude. E stands for energy. Without energy, you cannot do anything. Energy is the prime mover of action. And since things take time to stabilize, to give results, you've got to practice or inculcate stability in your personality. Don't rush. I'm not saying that you keep postponing or you give undue time. Have a reasonable time period to achieve something. If it's not working out, look into that. Take corrective actions, but at the same time, don't be impatient. So FACES stands for flexibility, adaptability, consistency, energy, and stability. And once you get into the habit of practicing FACES, flexibility, adaptability, consistency, energy, and stability, believe me, your practice and personal life would both stand changed, because these factors are not external factors. They're internal factors, and they're very easy to adopt, to be worked upon. And once they take grip of your personality, the external world changes dramatically. What do? To achieve anything in life, whether personal or professional, your purpose, your thoughts, and your actions need to be aligned. I repeat, to achieve anything in life, you should be clear of the purpose. What do you want to achieve? Your thoughts should be on that achievement, and your actions should support what do you want to achieve. So when you practice FACES, automatically your purpose, thoughts, and actions align. But unfortunately, the way majority of us live today, our purpose is to climb Himalayas. We are thinking of the sunny sands of Maldives, and our action is to go to the club and take a swim. We stretch ourselves in different directions. I don't want an answer. All I want you to, all of you, is to introspect. Is it happening to you? Your purpose, thoughts, and actions, are they aligned, or they are pulling you in different directions? Now let me come to the action part. Remember the acronym AOPA. It's a simple thing. A stands for attention. O stands for observation. P stands for pause. And A stands for acceptance.
Sir,
Haji, but
stay there.
We have with us our chairman of the committee, Professional Skills Enrichment Committee, CA Dr. Anuj Goyal.
Yes, he has been there for quite some
Yeah.
time. I've been seeing him.
Yeah.
Anuj ji,
Yeah,
namaskar.
CA Dr. Anuj Goyal
Huh.
is requested to put the chairman address over here. I am
Yes,
requesting
please go ahead.
Dr.
I've got
Anuj
no
Goyal
objection.
for his address.
Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Dr. Samit Kumar Mishraji, our founder secretary of Professional Skill Management Committee. We are having our very prominent chartered accountant, very prominent resource person, CA Sandeep Gupta sir from Delhi. I welcome on behalf of ICI Professional Skill Management Committee, and of course my very good friend, our honorable chairperson of Chittorgarh branch, CA Nitesh Sethia ji. I welcome Nitesh Sethia ji, our honorable event enabler, and all our honorable delegates from each and every part of the country, outside country. Very prominent speaker we are having, say Sandeep Gupta ji, and very important topic, skills enrichment for breaking growth barriers for CAG in life and profession. So I think with the help of best of the resource persons, Professional Skill Enrichment Committee is putting its level best to see that how we can really do something very concrete for the best of the accounting professionals of the world, the members of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Friends, professional growth is a key component of career success, but there are often obstacles that can stand in the way. These obstacles can come in many forms, such as a lack of skills, limited opportunities, or fear of failure. Overcoming these challenges requires a growth mindset, a willingness to take risks, and commitment to continuous learning and development in this context. This article explores some common barriers to professional growth and provides strategies to overcome them. By implementing these strategies, you can break through barriers and achieve the growth and success your desire in your career. Friends, in some cases, professional growth may be limited by a lack of opportunities within your organization. If this is the case, consider exploring opportunities outside of your current company or industry. Network, attend events, and explore that align with your interests and skill sets. So I'm quite confident that Sandeep Gupta ji, who is the best of the resource person and is helping us in the best possible manner, is the best resource. And I was just hearing and I was learning a lot of things from Sandeep Gupta ji. I'm really grateful to Nitesh Sethia ji, chairperson of Chittorgarh branch, and all our honorable members that they are live with us on this working day also. Thank you very much. Over to CA Sandeep Gupta sir.
Thank you, Anuj ji. Thank you very much. Okay, so what I was telling you, how do you align your purpose, thoughts, and actions? Because what we saw, what I told you, that the purpose, thoughts, and action need to be aligned. And how do you align that? Can I come on screen? वो आप change कर सकते हैं क्या? Backend, can you please put me on the screen, because okay, I'm visible. Okay, मेरे को नहीं दिख रहा था इसलिए मैं आपको कह रहा था. Okay. The question is, एक purpose होता है, there's a purpose, there's a thought, and there's a supporting action. To be successful in life, you need to align the three: purpose, thoughts, and actions. So let's assume the purpose is to be successful in our practice. Like I said, you cannot compartmentalize your domestic life, social life from the practice. Everything is integrated. And the growth also happens all together. There are 4 attributes to it. It is called AOPA. A stands for attention. On what do you focus your attention? Attention is that energy, it is that power on the thing you focus it. It grows. Attention, you can say, is the power to grow your mental strengths. The more you focus on something, the more you imbibe that, the more you study, the better you are. So the first thing is attention management. Do you know one thing? Despite being so important, how much does our attention help us? Now, mind it, attention is a trainable attribute. But in normal circumstances, how much does our attention help us or is with us? That will be a proper question. Just 33%. And we have the capacity to train it to 100%. Now, why did I say 33%? Out of 24 hours, 8 hours, we are sleeping or busy with our personal chores. Active awakening time is 16 hours. Experiments have proven that 47.3% time, your attention is not in your body. It is everywhere, but not on the job you have at hand. And I'm sure you will agree with me. Even while you are working, you must be losing your concentration multiple times. So if your attention is not in your body, is not focusing where it should be focusing at that point of time, it is reducing your efficiency. And since the scientists say it is 47.9%, let's say 50% for easy calculation. So out of the 16 hours left, 8 hours, the attention is not in us. It's everywhere, but not in us. And 8 hours, we are working with attention. Now, 8 hours is a long time. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people in this webinar today, with physically sitting here, but thinking of something else. This is what the attention does. But the good news is, attention is a highly trainable thing. You need to train it. And I'm sure all of you must have seen people, when they're working, they're so focused. You take away anything from their room or even from their pocket, they don't even come to know. Ever thought, how does a dancer dances for 3 hours non-stop on stage? Because he or she has focused all his or her attention on that dance, on the job which they are doing. And how do you train your attention? The question is, by just my saying that, okay, you should train your attention doesn't serve any purpose. That becomes theoretical. Let me give you, how do you train your attention? It's a very simple technique. And all you need to do is 5 minutes a day, which I'm sure all of us can afford 5 minutes a day. Sit in a comfortable position in a place where you're not disturbed for the next 5 minutes. Focus your attention on your breath and just feel the in-breath going in and the in-breath going out. Just feel it. And move your attention with the in-breath and the out-breath. It's quite likely after 20 seconds, 30 seconds, your mind might wander off to some other thing. The moment you realize it has wandered off, don't fret. Don't get angry with the mind. Just politely, comfortably with all harmony, with all passion, with all affection, bring your mind back to your breathing. When you start, it might happen a number of times, but I promise you, as you go along, you keep practicing, and within 15 days, you'll find that you are observing better. You are reacting better. Your knowledge is going up. Because attention is that factor which connects us with the outer world. It is that bridge which connects us with the outer world. Second thing is observation. You know, whenever we see something, the first reaction happens inside us, and then it manifests outside us. If you start observing that whenever a situation arises, what has happened inside you and what has happened outside you, you will realize that what has happened outside you, your reaction, was triggered by an inner feeling, which was a fraction of a second earlier. So let's put it this way. The inner reaction happens at 10 hours, 45 minutes, 7 seconds. Okay. The external reaction would happen at 10 hours, 45 minutes, 8 seconds. Once you start identifying, okay, this is the reaction which has happened inside me. Because there's always a gap between internal reaction and external reaction. You will develop the ability to hold on to that gap, which will move away. So rather than reacting from the amygdala is a portion at the back of the brain which only knows 3 things: fight, flight, or freeze. You will get out of that and you will come to the prefrontal cortex, that is the executive brain or the thinking brain. Your reaction would not be habitual, but would be a rational reaction, keeping that situation in mind. Now, just imagine a situation, a client is paying you 10 lakh rupees fees. Obviously, he's an important client. Such big money is coming in. Now, and you're feeling very angry because of the client has done something. The anger first manifests inside and then it comes outside. Can you afford to allow that anger to come out on that client outside? Personally, I think no. So practicing this thing will help you. Because that gap between the internal reaction and the external reaction, it will teach you to hold on to that gap. And once that reflexive reaction goes away, you will take a rational decision and your reaction would also be rational. Third is pause. P stands for pause. I talked of AOPA. P stands for pause. Pause is that point between internal reaction and external reaction. There's always a small gap. If we start identifying that gap, believe me, friends, believe me, colleagues, 90% of our problems in life would be over, whether it is home, society, office, or professional. How many times it happens when you say, I didn't mean it, yaar, ho gaya. I didn't mean it, it just happened. Or how many times you just react and then say, oh, I should not have reacted. This pause will help you to not get into that situation. And lastly, and I have just 1 minute left, 1 or 2 minutes, acceptance. Accept reality as it is. Accept reality as it is. How do we accept reality? We accept reality with riders. I could not do this thing because ABCD did this thing. I failed to deliver results because YZ did this thing. You know, it's a human tendency, mental makeup, to pass the blame, to pinpoint some other person. Whereas, in case you want to be successful, you got to accept the reality. That is acceptance. If I failed an exam, yes, I have failed an exam, full stop. That will give me the chance to think, why have I failed? If I don't do that, I say I failed an exam because ABCD took me to a movie. I have shifted my attention to the movie and ABCD. The blame, I shift the blame from myself to the next person, and shifting the blame, believe me, is suicidal for growth. So thank you all, everyone, for listening to me. I wish this was more interactive. I enjoyed talking to all of you. Thank you very much. I was told that I got time till 12:45. So, sir, I hand the stage back to you. It is 12:45.
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू। बहुत ही बढ़िया सेशन रहा आपका। तो पार्टिसिपेंट क्वेश्चन आंसर इज देयर, क्वेश्चन इज देयर, यू कैन आस्क द क्वेश्चन बाय चैट और दिस वन।
Okay. How a CA can help? Can you just put up the question? Is in the chat
Yeah.
box?
हाँ सर।
Okay. How a CA can help in his life to improve his society, where most of the people are against law and order? How can ICAI support to him under legal laws and regulations? CA Bhanwar Lal Malviya, Jodhpur.
मालवीय।
Yeah. Bhanwar Lal ji, to each one his own, right? You live in a family. Do all the people in your family think alike? They do not. Similarly, in society, people do not think alike. What you could do is, you could set an example, right? You could set an example by yourself. So that's the only way. If you try to change others, you will get changed because they are larger in number. They will not change. Just set an example. They'll be motivated seeing you and they will change. Okay. I hope I answered your question. Number 2, I'm a recently qualified chartered accountant. I feel like the work done in our profession is kind of boring. I'm working with my father and doing practice. I often feel like I don't belong here, but I don't know what to do if I do not do a practice work. Even if I leave the firm, I don't know what to do. And at the end, I will have to settle for a CA-related work only. I don't know. Can I know the name of the person? Who is this person? Gaurav. Okay. Gaurav, you reminded me of 1979 when I qualified. You see, when I qualified in 1979, I said, I don't enjoy audit, I don't enjoy tax. That was the only work that time. Then I thought, what could be done? I got into management consulting. CA is a very powerful qualification today, believe me. For a number of years, I said I should not have become a CA, but today when I look back, CA is a very powerful thing because there are so many avenues open to you. Let's put aside the taxation work. Let's put aside the audit work. Let's put aside, okay, these were the 2 main things, or the company law work. 3. Still, there are so many avenues open for you. Find your niche. Find what excites you. So does that answer your question? You have to find, because it's a very powerful ground, it's a very powerful degree or a certificate which you have acquired, and you can do a lot. There are so many avenues open for you today. In my time, that is 79, there was hardly any avenue. And my colleagues, who passed out around that time will agree. But today, there are so many avenues. Look for your avenue. Take pride in being a CA. Believe me, life would be great. The third question is, sir, I'm getting good increment every year in my job since last 7 years. But in last 1 year, I have given 2 interviews and that company is not ready to give me the same salary what I'm getting now based on my current job profile. Here I just want to know whether I am growing or not professionally. I cannot see your name, gentlemen, whoever has posed the question. This is faced by a number of people. I cannot, Sunil, okay, Sunil, this could be a paradoxical situation, but let me ask you a blunt question. Are you putting the value which you believe in a rational way, or just because you have been growing, you are putting a larger value on yourself? Sunil, I would love, you see, if you could, because Sunil, the facts you have given to me are too less to give a very opinioned answer. But the fact is, there could be a lot of slips, because what you are demanding after 7 years could be beyond the market, not supported by what you have achieved. So I just don't know, but all I'll say, be more practical. Whatever best you get it. And sometimes what happens in profession, you don't come across people and all of a sudden you come across someone, who's prepared to pay you the moon. And let me share one thing with everyone. There was an American company which came, and I was not doing too well that time. They asked me, how much would you charge? I said, 2,000. Honestly, at the back of my mind, it was 2,000 rupees because I was not doing well at that point of time. They said dollars. I kept quiet, and I got $2,000 per month. Dollar was 48 rupees. So a person who was just earning 10, 15, 20,000 a number of years back, all of a sudden he was earning 1 lakh of rupees. So be patient, be vigilant, look around. And in case you want to get in touch with me, you're most welcome. You can get in touch with me. Okay, question number 4. For growth, how to balance value system vis-a-vis relationship? As ethics are important to survive as a professional. However, in general, clients expect beyond that. Let me tell you, Sunil, let me tell you one thing. I have practiced for a good 35 years, right? It's only for the last 10 years I'm doing this job. 35, and even today I have some clients. Values are always appreciated. Values are always appreciated. So my suggestion would be, don't sacrifice your values. Do everything with good intent. Don't get competitive. Compete with yourself. Don't compete with others. If you really want to grow, focus your energies on yourself so that you grow. If you focus on the energies on other people, oh, this boy has reached so much, this girl is earning so much, you would be lost in that competitive world. Focus all your energies on yourself to grow, because from your question, I guess, you are a youngster. Question number 5, what suggestions would you give to rekindle the vision for long term? It was lost to a trauma situation. Niranjan Ojar. Niranjan, traumas happen in everyone's life. You are not the chosen one. the day you accept the fact that traumas happen to everyone, things will automatically change for you. So, my friend, I would request you to rise above the trauma and take action. Don't let trauma hold you back. Okay, Sumit Jain says, sir, flexibility should not be adopted for the things which are against our value system. Yes, Sumit, I totally agree with you. All of us have got a value system. If you go against the value system, it creates a conflict inside us. But at the same time, have the courage to check your value system. A person, who is prepared to sign any kind of a balance sheet is also a part of the value system. It might not be a part of your values, but that's a part of the value system. So just introspect your value system, try to align them. And believe me, my friends, the world is huge. The world is huge, and especially in the internet days where virtual interaction happens. I am coaching and training people in USA. Could you have imagined this thing 10 years back? No. So just introspect, expand your influence. Now, Tejas Choksi, how to keep oneself continuously motivated on daily basis? Oh, this is a very good question, Tejas. Have a long-term goal. Break it down into, let's say you have a 12 months goal. Break it down into monthly goals. Break it down into weeks and break it down into a daily goal. What will happen? You see, an inverted triangle would be formed. And if you inverse the triangle, a large number of activities would be at the base, which would take you as you go up. Now, make the daily activities achievable and pat your back every day. Today, I had to achieve these 4 things. I have done it. And in case you cannot achieve one thing, please don't beat yourself up. Just don't beat yourself up. Be at it. Believe me. Believe me, you will start growing, and the speed of growth would be such you cannot imagine. Accept reality. Whatever it is, find a solution to it in a rational way. So does that answer your question, Tejas Choksi? So that will keep you motivated, because victory motivates a person, but rational victory motivates a person much more. Okay, best way to come out from comfort and how to overcome fear from new assignments and job. Sanjay Singh Badoria, Bhubaneswar. Sanjay, let me tell you one thing. When I did my articles from Agra, it was a small town. This was 76, 77. Things were very different. I went to Bombay. It was a different culture. I was a small timer at that point of time. But then I started seeing everything at 2 levels, the superficial level and the deeper level, right? And the moment I started seeing things at the deeper level, okay, what happened? The external trappings which are visual to our eyes stopped bothering me, because I was focusing on that driving force. Deeper level is that driving force. And in 6 months' time, I was as good or as bad as my colleagues in Bombay who had spent their life in Bombay, right? So my suggestion would be introspect, look at things, psych yourself, take action, take simple actions, achievable actions. And every time you achieve something, pat your back. And in case you still find it difficult, you're most welcome to contact me. I'll help you out. Okay, best way to come out from control and how to overcome fear from new assignment and jobs. Sanjay is saying, I've just answered this question, right? And I think the answer is common. If time is left, I will definitely answer it again. RVCA need to be a saint-like, temperamentally strong or proactive with the goes to the society? Well, Mukherjee, you don't need to be a saint. You need to be a practical man, an honest man, a sincere man. Okay? You got to live a life. Just be honest. Just be sincere. Just be practical. Don't harm anyone. Don't think ill for anyone. Believe me, you will be successful. So yes, if there are no other questions. Okay, now there's a last question, then I think we'll close it. The last question is it better to practice only in India or become an CA from foreign CA bodies as well and start international practice to expand your scope? Gentlemen, the world is looking towards India. I have clients from overseas. Practice in India, create that international reputation by being visible on various forums. Believe me, the world is coming to India, and the people who are coming to India will take you abroad. So thank you, everyone. I hope it was a fruitful session.
Well done, sir. Now I invite CA Piyush Agarwal for formal vote of thanks.
Thank you, Niteshji, for giving me this opportunity. It has been such an honor to be a part of this wonderful webcast on skill enrichment of breaking growth barriers for CAs in life and profession, organized by the Professional Skill Enrichment Committee, ICI. On behalf of Professional Skill Enrichment Committee, ICI, we would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our speaker, CA Sandeep Gupta ji, for his enlightening session, and CA Dr. Anuj Goyal ji, Chairman, Professional Skill Enrichment Committee, ICI, CA Shri Priya Kumar, Vice Chairperson of Professional Skill Enrichment Committee, ICI, for their active guidance. Sincere thanks to the event enablers from the Chittorgarh branch of CIRC of ICI who enabled the webcast throughout. A wide round of applause and thanks to the organizer, Professional Skill Enrichment Committee, ICI. Our today's speaker, CA Sandeep Gupta ji, and other stakeholders made the webcast a memorable one. Finally, we would like to thank you all present here and helping us make this webcast a grand success. Thank you, one and all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.